You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Monday the 28th of April 2025 and you are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. And I've had a few days off. I think that was the right decision. I'd got into the habit of doing a podcast for the sake of doing a podcast, even on days when I knew I wasn't going to write, because I wanted to hit a target episode number for my anniversary, the first anniversary of the podcast. So I'm quite pleased. And after that, I kind of, the two, because I was going to keep going until the 25th. But I kind of realised that the day I flew home from Singapore, I was going to basically spend, 14 hours in a metal tube at 40,000 feet. So there was really nothing I was going to be able to do writing-wise there, and no point having a podcast. And the day I land, I spend most of the day recovering from the fact that I've been 14 hours in a tube at 40,000 feet. So I knew I wasn't going to say anything those days. 26th, I did actually have plans, but I was just absolutely shattered, so I didn't end up doing them. And yesterday I went into London, met with a friend, did a hidden underground station tour at Baker Street, which was very interesting. So, yeah, there was, and I haven't done, well, I have done some writing in the meantime, actually. I haven't done nothing. So the first thing that I've done is I had another copy of Still Life sent to me in the post, based on all the revisions I did last time. And again, I want to lend the friend I was seeing yesterday, I wanted to give them a copy, but when it arrived, there was somehow a typing error on page 1. Not quite sure how. That typing error wasn't there in the previous version, so what the hell I've done, I've no idea. In fact, in total, I spotted 2 typing errors in the whole thing, which I'm quite pleased with, actually. I have now corrected them, so hopefully the next version will have almost none. And the other thing I realised was there is something that happens, or I had it in my head that something happened about halfway through the book, which is absolutely vital to something that's going to happen if I write the sequels. It's something that's going to happen in book 3, which is provisionally titled Blank Canvas. And I realised when I was reading this that it wasn't there. I literally didn't have the moment that I needed to then create the situation for what I'm going to do in book 3. I mean, it's easy to resolve. I'm still writing the thing at this point, and it was literally a paragraph, not even 150 words, that I needed to add, just 2 or 3 sentences. But it's so weird, and it's really weird that I didn't spot it last time as well. It was just a moment that I was so sure I'd included, I hadn't noticed that I hadn't, which is such a strange thing. But yeah, so I've got very definite plans for the next 2 books. It is planned now to be a trilogy. When I wrote Still Life, it was meant to be a single book, but yeah. And then the other thing I've done a little bit of is I haven't done any signing off, unfortunately. I should have done, but I just haven't. So I never finished signing off chapter 2 in Singapore, but I have read chapters 3, 4, 5 and 6 since then. And I've made alterations that I need to. So those are ready to sign off. So at some point over in the next little while, I need to do just a mega kind of paper signing off session, which is fine. But one of the things I've been looking for in Empress of the Trees is consistency. So if you've been listening to this for a while, I was a little bit unsure about my character Ronnie, who is my main character in Empress of the Trees. It took me forever to completely mentally connect with her and to totally understand her and totally understand her motivations. It was like one of the chapters it was one of the chapters I wrote, basically, because I wrote 32 chapters ages ago, and I've written another 11 since then. It was during those 11, and probably about halfway through that I finally figured out who she was. When she did something unexpected, she basically did the opposite to what I'd put in my plan for that chapter. Didn't cause me any major problems, but it suddenly made me realise who she was. So when I've been going back and rereading the early chapters, I have to say I did assume that the character was going to be rather inconsistent because I hadn't sussed out who she was. I mean, you listen to early versions of this podcast, and I'm even talking about changing the name of the character because I didn't like her name. And I absolutely believe now the reason I didn't like the name was purely down to the fact that I hadn't sussed out who she was and was just trying to sort it out in my head. I love the name now. She is, I was never going to change Veronica, but I wasn't sure whether I wanted to shorten it to Ronnie or come up with a nickname or something. But anyway, all sorted. And what I'm really enjoying is she really is the person I need her to be, even in those opening chapters. There's something that happens in chapter 6, which I had forgotten preempts literally what she does in chapter 35 or 36 or whatever it was, where I discovered the character. And I was sitting there reading it going, yeah, oh wow, that actually makes more sense. If anything, what she did unexpectedly in chapter 30, whatever it was, totally makes sense because of the stuff I'm reading in chapter 6. So there was me thinking I was going to have to redefine the character and do a lot of rewrites. So far, no. So that's really, really pleasing. Anyway, this is a little bit of a back for a day because I will try and do a little bit more work. To be honest, I'm actually enjoying the break. I've worked really hard so far this year on the writing, and I feel like I need a little break. So I'm not going to try and sign off anymore. I'm not working tomorrow, but I'm back to work on Wednesday. Working Wednesday to Friday. So Saturday, which I think is the 3rd, let me just double check. The 3rd of this month is the Saturday. That is when I'm going to start writing again. And that's when I'm going to start doing the podcast regularly again. So this was just a little, hello, I'm still here. I kind of indicated I might do this from Singapore, to be honest. So yeah, today's is little, hello, I'm still here, don't forget me. And I'll be back properly, regularly on the 3rd of May because I'm not working for 16 days from the 3rd of May. And I really want to get stuck into this second draft of Empress of the Trees because I still want to finish it by the end of July. Will I manage? Well, only time will tell. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I'll be back in a few more days. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.